This is Chapter 6, Section 2, Other Groups and Networks. Today we're going to be talking about reference groups. A reference group is a group used for self-evaluation and the formation of attitudes, values, beliefs, and norms. So this is the group that you look at to see how you should be reacting or responding within different social environments. Examples of reference groups include families, teachers, classmates, student council, social organizations, music groups, professional athletes, and celebrities. Notice that not all of these are groups that you may be a member of, but they definitely impact your perception of social environments. Do you have to be a member for it to be considered a reference group? The answer is no. People do not have to be a member of a group in order to be considered, or in order for them to consider it a reference group. They could just be people who you aspire to be like. So just like the example on the previous slide, professional athletes, celebrities, you may not even know these people. You may not be a member of that particular group, but you look to them for social cues like style and fads and trends of behavior and things like that, even though you're not a member. Not all reference groups are positive. Sometimes we look at a group and we decide, gosh, I really don't want to be anything like that. And so a reference group can also be negative, and we can use it to make decisions for ourselves and learn what we should not do. We also need to define in-groups and out-group. An in-group is a group in which a person belongs. It's exclusive and demanding intense loyalty. And an out-group is a group targeted by an in-group for opposition, antagonism, or competition. You can't have one without the other. So an in-group would be where people belong into a group, and an out-group would be anybody who does not belong. And you can see this in this image here where you have this group of friends, and this is the in-group, and then you clearly have this one person over here who is not with a member of this group and therefore considered part of the out-group. Where do they form? In-groups and out-groups can form anywhere. Schools, neighborhoods, societies, countries at war. Really anywhere we can find in-groups and out-groups. Group boundaries. We know that symbols, actions, borders, physical boundaries set boundaries of in-groups and out-groups. So, like for example, being living in the United States, that makes you part of an in-group. You're part of the U.S. society. Anybody then who would not be part of our society is anybody not living within our borders. And we have symbols that represent that, right? We have an eagle and a flag and the Statue of Liberty. Actions would be like our culture that we have in common, like Thanksgiving, 4th of July, things like that that are attached to our common history. And then obviously, again, we have the physical borders that set boundaries between us, which is the in-group, people living in the United States, and out-groups of people who do not. New in-group members are often taught boundaries at initiation ceremonies. So if we go back to our example of people living in the United States, people learn the culture, they often learn the language, they learn the laws, things like that, becoming in-group members. If a person wants to become a U.S. citizen, there's a process for that as well, and even an initiation ceremony that they would go through after completing all of those different tasks that they have to do to achieve citizenship. Boundaries are maintained through extreme loyalty and can lead to clashes with other groups. So we obviously have a long history in the United States, and some of that history includes clashes with other countries, as well as clashes with groups within our country who have not upheld that same loyalty to our nation. Social networks, a web of social relationships that join a person to other people in groups. And we can see this as well even in social media, and we'll look more at that in the next step. So at this point, we are going to stop this video. This link here is going to be in one of the following steps. I'm not going to show it to you here, but if you will, just go on to the next step of the lesson.